Now, despite COVID-19 lockdowns earlier in their career and record-breaking load shedding last year, the class of 2022 performed well. The matric pass rate announced last night was 80.1%, an improvement of 3.7%. The results were released by the Basic Education Minister, Angie Motshekga. Now, top of the class was the Free State, again with a pass rate of 88.5%, followed by Gauteng in second place, then Kwazulu Natal. Now, Kwazulu Natal moved up a place despite the challenges of flooding. The three provinces with the lowest pass rates are still being lauded for being much improved. Mpumalanga, the Northern Cape and Limpopo. Bottom of the log was Limpopo with 72.1%, but that is up more than 5% from 2021. Let's get a perspective from some of the provincial MECs now. We're joined by Gauteng Education MEC, Matome Chiloane, Western Cape MEC, David Maynier, Northwest Education MEC, Viola Motsumi, and finally from the Eastern Cape, Fundile Gade Education MEC. MECs, welcome to all of you. Let me start with Gauteng, MEC Chiloane. Gauteng always says it faces the most pressure with people moving to the urban areas. We know there's not enough schools. People come from other provinces as well. You did see an increase of 1.6% in the pass rate. Given the challenges, are you extremely happy with that?
No, good afternoon to you and your viewers. Good afternoon to my colleagues there. No, we're happy with the results. It really it gives us confidence that our efforts are not in vain. Our different strategies that we implemented throughout the year to ensure that we get our learners ready and focused for the exams have really bear fruit. So we are quite happy, and once more congratulate the class for doing well and really for putting Gauteng back on the map again.
MEC, back to school in Gauteng has been a challenge with 1,300 pupils was the initial list, still waiting to be placed just before schools opened, and you can just imagine the anxiety around that. Your department said a lot of efforts were being made to address that. What is the situation right now as we speak?
No, we've greatly moved. The numbers are far less. The last time, remember, a week ago it was 571, and I've said to the officials that I don't want to give any feedback until we are fully done. So within the next few days, a day or two, rather in the beginning of next week, we're going to have given a full-on report. But so far, we've placed majority of those, and we're still placing. In fact, currently more we're dealing with the late placements, late applications rather. However, I agree with you, the growth of the province is not complemented by the growth of infrastructure, schooling infrastructure in this case. So hence we really do struggle with spaces, but however, in this academic year, we are certain that we'll be able to place all the learners into school.
All right, perhaps we'll chat again about that. Let me move focus now, however, to the Western Cape, MEC Maynier. Some of the top candidates came from the Western Cape. You achieved 81.4%, which is up, but it's slight, it's fractional. Why do you believe the province is pretty stagnant at the moment?
Well, I don't agree. In fact, I mean, as you say, we are very proud of the fact that our pass rate increased to 81.4%. We're also very proud of the fact that we have the overall joint top performer in the form of Kelly Prowse. We have the top maths performer. We have the top 3 performers in quintile 5, and we have the second place in quintile 3 in the form of Atankosi Konzani, who comes from COSAT High School in Khayelitsha. So we are very proud of our results. And although our pass rate increased marginally, what we're particularly proud of is the fact that this is the biggest cohort of matric candidates that we have ever had, with over 60,000 candidates writing this year. And we are very proud of the fact that of the 60,000, nearly 50,000 passed and are now eligible to apply to universities and to colleges. And I think that that will extend opportunities and position them very well in the future here in the Western Cape.
MEC, when some people think of inequality, rightly or wrongly, they think of the Cape. You have these affluent areas, and then you have the Cape Flats, where kids are really struggling with everything, the social ills and incredible crime rates on top of that. Just tell us, if you look at the racialized geography at times, what are the trends? Are there changes? And is there anything to celebrate or worry about there?
Well, we have seen improved performance across the quintiles, and we have seen improved performance, particularly in quintile 1 to 3. And this morning, I celebrated the matric results of the class of 2022 at Hector Peterson Secondary School, which is in Wallerstein. And I mean, this school is in a community where there are enormous challenges. And despite that, we are really proud of the fact that the school delivered a huge increase in its pass rate, far beyond its target of 85% to 92.6%, and increased its bachelor's passes from 40% to 55%, demonstrating that we are achieving great results, not just in our quintile 5 schools, but also in our quintile 1 to 3 schools here in the Western Cape.
All right, thank you, MEC. Let's move to the Northwest. MEC Motsumi, they're achieving a pass rate of 79.8%, so nearly 80%, and it is up. MEC, how can you push that even further this year?
No, thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity. Let me start by indicating that actually, as the Northwest Province Department of Education, we are inspired and hopeful based on the results of Kwazulu Natal. Looking at the background of Kwazulu Natal, where do they come from? And achieving 6% improvement. It gives us a hope that definitely as the province, definitely come next year, will definitely obtain that particular more than 6% and will be able to secure position 2. We have looked at how Gauteng has improved. It has improved with 1.6, the same as the Northwest Province. So it shows how indeed it's possible for us to move from whatever position that we are occupying to the next position or position 2. In terms of improvement, I can assure media out there that as the Department of Education, we had a series of meetings regarding this particular result. As you know that already we are confronted with unrest in one sub-region by the name of Ramotsiri. Already we have opened discussions with community leaders and general community members together with SGB, because for us to improve in terms of results, it means that we must strengthen the relationship between us as the Department of Education and our school governing body, and generally with our stakeholders. So we believe that having a strong relationship with the relevant stakeholders, where they will be able to assist us with more resources, definitely will be able to improve from where we are to the upper position.
MEC, I'm glad you brought that up because the start of teaching has reportedly been very disrupted due to protests. So the reports are that pupils have been pushed out of classrooms at 5 schools, teachers threatened. That's a scary situation, and a protest over water shortages and things like that. So this sounds like a discussion that needs to bring in communities as well when schools are targeted. How are you going to do that? And by the way, what is happening now with those schools?
I can confirm that the Premier of the Northwest, Premier Bushimapi, has established a team, intervention team, which consists of myself as the MEC of the Department of Education, together with Kosatma, MEC Ntatele, together with the MEC of Coxta, because all the issues that are being raised by community members, actually, specifically, it's about service delivery. So already, as I'm speaking to you, what we have done as the department, there's a visit by the Minister, Minister Mchunu, who visited some few schools around that particular area, where there's going to be a series of engagements meeting between him and the relevant MECs and community members, just to try their level best to see how best can they resolve all the issues that are being raised by those particular community members. And also on Monday, if this particular issue is not resolved yet, I'm also going to visit that particular area, because we are having a meeting with principals and sub-district directors that side, together with community leaders of that particular area, just to plead with them to allow learners to go to school, because our worry is that there are grade 12s who are affected in that particular area. But if we don't have a choice, it means that we'll be left with no choice but to talk to the Premier to seek intervention of making sure that we move, especially the grade 12s, from that particular area and place them to other schools around Mahikeng as a temporary measure.
Yeah, all right. What a concern. Please do keep us updated. Let's move to the Eastern Cape. MEC Gade, a pass rate of 77.3%, which isn't among the top, but an increase of 4.2%. So that is significant. How did you do it? MEC Gade, please unmute. I believe you are muted.
Yes, thanks. My apologies. We have tried our level best in the past 3 to 4 years to look at the bottlenecks of the schooling system in the province, and we developed a 7-point plan, which we are currently engaging on as part of a turnaround strategy to respond to the problems that have been embedding the province for the past 15 years, by the way. So we identified bigger districts and identified those subjects that are high enrollment subjects, and in particular maths and physics, because we are a maths and physics province. So our results resides on how tactically you deal with the issue of maths and physics in the bigger districts. And that's why, for example, we have been able to secure improvement in OR Tambo Coastal, one of the biggest districts, OR Tambo Inland, one of the biggest, also Nelson Mandela, one of the biggest, and also the Krisani East, which is also one of the biggest. So our systems are responding quite very well in terms of the targets that we have set for ourselves. One amongst other strategies that I think worked for us quite a bit strongly was to identify the inefficiencies of Section B schools. What are these reasons that made these schools consistently underperformed? Is it because of the lack of resources, or the lack of the capacity of the teachers, or is a reflection of an environment that is not conducive for learning? And we tackled those kind of arrangements with the intervention plans that the province have put in place, so that we can be able to sustain the 5% increase that we have been consistently receiving ever since 2016.
All right, thank you, MEC, and certainly those efforts seem to be bearing fruit. It has been reported, though, that you're looking into cheating scandals, and at least 21 teachers may be involved in the Eastern Cape, which raises questions about the integrity of the system in that province. What's your response to that?
No, we have resolved that matter. it's not a group copying per se. It's a matter of the life orientation of Pakamani Senior Secondary School, where teachers carelessly not submitted the school-based assessment projects that are required in terms of the policy in August. And when the provincial department intervenes, they then make a submission to the DPE. Unfortunately for us, we picked up again that there are learners that have group projects instead of individual projects as required in terms of the policy. And that raises alarms from the assessment and investigative team, and we have dealt with that question. Those learners are going to write back those projects on the 25th of January, marked on the 27th of January, and then issue the reports for them on the 30th of January. So that is the plan that is in place between the Eastern Cape Department of Education and also the DPE as part of mitigating the results of the 212 learners that might be affected on the basis of that carelessness on submission of the school-based assessment in the context of the life orientation paper.
All right, thank you for that explanation. And we've looked at the various provinces. Thank you to all the MECs who were able to join us. That was Gauteng Education MEC, Matome Chiloane, Western Cape MEC, David Maynier, Northwest Education MEC, Viola Motsumi, and Eastern Cape MEC, Fundile Gade.